All right, welcome back. I appreciate you guys listening in. So this is Season 1, Episode 5 of the Lessons with Leaders podcast. I'm your host, Jake Allen. Today we got a very special guest with us, one of the legends in the BMX world, a businessman as well, Mike Spinner. For people who do not know Mike Spinner, Mike landed the first ever 1080, which is 3 rotations, the first ever quadruple tailwhip.
Yep.
So you may have four little tail whips around.
No,
so
there were a lot of tail.
A lot of tail whips, a lot of tail whips. So you got Tony Hawk and skateboarding, you have Kelly Slater and surfing. You are that in the BMX world.
Good. I would say, because I don't want to give, there's other guys that had a longer career that were definitely the best, winning competitions more.
Right.
I won a couple, but I was the guy that was like, I pushed the sport. I think I definitely helped. I think I would get credit for pushing the sport forward, making everyone go, oh shit, that's what I have to do now to be a top podium position kind of person.
So very much push the boundaries of what's possible in the sport.
Yes.
Kind of push the
envelope.
Yeah. Raise the bar a little bit.
A lot.
And you were a lot of bit. Let's give you some credit. Give you some credit. So a lot of bit, and then BMX for 6 years?
Yeah, 2007, turned pro, 2006, 2007 to about 2012.
Okay.
But it was like the 4 years, 2007, 8, 9, and 10 were like my power hour years. Yeah.
And then from that, became a very successful businessman. If you are familiar in the sports nutrition world, you definitely know EVL Nutrition and Walmart and the grocery stores. On bodybuilding.com, and of course, we own retail out of Sunrise, Florida, so very much a South Florida business leader here.
In Coconut Creek, our office. I think we just used that address on the back of the bottle so people don't come to our office.
Right. I hear you. Well, anyways, man, really excited to get into your mindset. First time I've actually had like a true athlete on this show.
Cool.
And you see a lot of business people who become very successful from a more athletic background because they have that competitive edge to really...
the drive,
Exactly. They're driven, they're willing to do the grunt work, they know how to lose, but more importantly, how to bounce back and continue to win. So want to get into your mindset and your expertise and where you've really excelled, both as an athlete and as a professional. I think kind of the best way to start is kind of give us a rundown of your actual BMX career and how that led you to where you are today.
Yeah, so to try to, make it like maybe 60 seconds, 2 minutes?
However long, man.
Yeah, so... in 2006, I won an amateur BMX competition, which then catapulted me into being in a pro competition.
Right.
Like I qualified into being technically professional. First pro contest I enter, being officially a pro, I get a wild card spot. I'm the first guy to go because I'm supposed to fail completely. Right. It's the amateur first contest. And I qualify first.
Okay.
I beat everyone. And it was crazy because these are all the professionals that I look up to all my life.
Absolutely.
I mean, like, in my room when I was 12, I had pictures of dudes.
Right.
Lots of all BMX guys all over my wall, autograph sign. So I just beat all those guys that were pictures all over my wall. And, man, did it change real quick. It went from everyone's like, hey, Mike, or they would call my name Spinner because my last name, to not making eye contact with me. I'm talking in 30 minutes. I was like, the people I look up to for my whole life, they hate me instantly. It's it was fucked up. I was really upset.
Absolutely.
But I realized later on, so I got a bunch of sponsors, got an agent.
Right.
I was pulling on a bunch of first-time tricks.
Okay.
And then the first year I was officially a pro in 2007.
Okay.
I'm going in with all the sponsors, Monster, Nike, Hyperbikes, Mira at first, Dave Mira's company, Bell helmets. I'm like going in, and everyone's almost like, oh, is this going to be a fluke? First pro contest, I get second place. I staple myself, and I'm good. And then I tear my ACL in 2009. I build a whole skate park in my backyard. I fly back here I come back to Florida, build a 12,000 square foot skate park in my backyard. Win the next contest in 2010, and that was like my BMX career in like a quick couple minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. So one thing you mentioned on is Dave Mira, who was the guy.
Yes,
as
he
you
is
kinda
the
came
guy.
up. He is,
So
he's-
that's
okay,
the
he's
guy.
a
That's
Tony
the
Hawk
Tony.
Kelly
Yes,
Slater.
yeah.
Gotcha,
So that's why
gotcha.
I'm like, does that make sense? I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want to take. That's
Right.
not. That's him. Yeah.
And that's someone who you looked up to heavily, if I'm not mistaken, someone who you, as a kid, you were like in his junior camp, and then you went up to compete against him.
It was he was actually really cool. He was looked up to him all my life. I was the nerd in BMX that I would literally go to the competitions like when they would be locally, like in Florida and stuff. I worked a lot, so I would like give my parents money, like the gas money and the hotel money. So then we would go there, and I would literally get their email addresses. So I got Dave's email, and when I finally was officially a pro, he goes, "Hey, did you get the contract?" I go, "You never asked me my email address." And he goes, "Aren't you Bike 9?" And I'm like, "Wait, you know?" He goes, "Yeah, of course I do." And I'm like, I was in complete shock
Right.
that he knew the 12-year-old me, and it was only 6 or 7 years later, but it was pretty cool. You know?
Okay, exactly. And what was that kind of like aha moment where you go from, still an ally, you sounds like, but you go from like kind of like idol to rival, where you're like, I'm not competing against this guy on his level.
So he was someone. Obviously, I technically at that point I was riding for his company.
Right.
So it was cool but it was always cool until in 2007. He normally, with the way he rides, he would either have like a really hot year. Or not kind of thing, but he would win everything or just take a break, stuff like that. So he, in 2007, him and I are traveling around the world together. I'm riding for his company. He pulls a great run at one of the big competitions, and probably his best run he did in like 2 or 3 years. And then I wind up pulling the first 1080 and winning that contest, so he got second place. And on TV, he's like, "Oh no, Mike won," and I'm like, "That is a moment."
Awesome.
So, but it was cool, and I ride for his company, so it's like he almost can't get mad. Does that make sense? But he was one of the few that I knew. If this makes sense, like when you're at a competition, this really sucks. But like just like in business too, like there's people like when you look around, like in a crowd or like. You only want to make eye contact with the people that have your best intentions.
Of course, absolutely.
Because technically, if you're looking at certain other people, you could see that they are hoping you,
lose,
and fall.
Yeah,
Or I hate to say this, but get hurt.
Right.
So you like avoid those kind of eye contacts because you're kind of. So I started bringing friends of mine because then I knew I could look at them and like we're ready. Here we go. Yeah.
Exactly.
Or so, but he was one of the ones that I could always look at and have that excitement.
And if I'm not mistaken, you mentioned Dave having hot years or having poor years and stuff of that sort. You kind of took that similar approach where for those people who are not familiar with BMXing, you're in a park, you're hitting a lot of box jumps, a lot of half pipes, a lot of ramps of that sort. Not to
you're doing
simply,
good.
but
You're doing good.
Kind of how it
you're
goes.
doing good. Yeah.
And you can have kind of extreme out there, full send, 10 out of 10 efforts, 10 out of 10 creativity tricks where you can kind of just ride safely and,
for sure.
and get a 4th or 5th place.
Yes.
And if I'm not mistaken, you are not the guy who did a half-ass anything. You were either going to win or you were going to lose.
Yes.
So kind of walk me through like that mentality.
Yeah. It's actually the mentality like in business too. So that's I think that's what now we'll lead over there.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
I guess I try to say I never thought because maybe let me explain it this way. I saw and met a lot of BMX guys that I knew when I was a little kid, and they were even older than the ones that maybe I was directly looking up to, and they were still riding and they were still competing.
Right.
And I just thought it was so crazy. I'm like, why are they doing that? They have no chance to even like get a podium, not even to make a final. Normally there's 30 guys. It cuts down to 10, and then there's a podium. And for me, I thought, in my mind, if I can't even get podium or mentally I'm like not there anymore to get podium, I'm not doing it. There's no point.
There's no point to not
No
win.
point. So, and there was a lot of guys that were like, oh no, if I get top 10, I'll at least make some kind of money.
Right,
and I just couldn't, I didn't understand. Like, why would that be okay? So I never understood that.
And I think there's a lot of people in all aspects of life who are okay with kind of just checking the boxes and not wanting to be the best at what they do. No matter what it is that I do, for example, I want to be the best at it.
100%.
Right? And I think that's the way you should take that. And then how has that, and I want to talk about like actual the business evolution of EVL, but like how does that mentality today, you're 8 years into the business, help you with, kind of breaking into the market and capturing market share and being innovative, where you could just sit back and make a good amount of money, but it seems like your team wants to continue to kind of push the envelope.
I think I've only been able to, there's only been a few times I was able to like maybe take a break, and the break was 30 days. Okay. I mean, in BMX, the break is when you get hurt, right? So that's a forced break. When in business, when I didn't realize that, like, well, in this business, I attempted many businesses prior to, and I really realized I had to put 100% effort in. I couldn't do like while I was riding, trying to make that work. Like, to me, it never, like, I realized after, I'm like, oh wait, the only way to win or do really well is if you 100% focus, commit, and put it all on the line. So I didn't realize that, but like when we started EVL and I was going store to store, begging stores to just buy a few units of product. I didn't realize that, like, oh wow, like this is it. I'm going all in. I almost didn't know. You know, I'm like tunnel vision, and I didn't necessarily know 100% of the industry, or I didn't know 100% about, let's say, the industry politics. And I had a big mouth in BMX, so I used that learning curve of, okay, let me keep my mouth shut. Let me not, and I have a big mouth, but now I know just to my friends. It's okay. You know, you can talk shit to your friends.
In a closed corner, without a microphone on you or something. And no, and I hear that. And you know, for people who do not know and kind of want to get a background of EVL, but also like what is the company? Because a lot of people are familiar with nutrition, and that's just very broad.
Simple. Evlution Nutrition started in 2013. BC Energy, BCAAs, protein, fat burners, vitamins. Just a nutrition company. I mean, we created a brand that people are excited about. It's not just focused on one product. So a lot of brands, which are cool, not a dig, but like there's a lot of brands that have one product that is a hero product. Like Cellucor, C4, their pre-workout, let's say. Or Extend is like their BCA product. Everyone knows, like, it's this one product worldwide. So our brand has been really well with like a lifestyle brand. People are excited to not only try a bunch of our products, but also wear the shirts, wear the hats, because it's a cool brand, cool logo. So it's been like a lifestyle brand that people feel good about wearing, and it's in every person. It's not just for an athlete like yourself. Some people, you know, are smaller and skinnier, could still do it. We have a friend here, so that's why we said it. And it's an overall good brand for anyone, any age. And I'm not trying to bodybuilder. You know, it's meant for everybody.
Right, and so I got to get one of these hats, man. You got to get a t-shirt, something of that sort. And then, so nutrition is, we got a buddy behind the camera who's a professional golfer, but he's not a bodybuilder anyways.
Little.
He's good. He's a good guy. Anyway, so the action sport world is heavily sponsored by
energy drink
some not healthy companies.
I wouldn't say that, because they serve their purpose.
They serve their purpose.
So
But if you look at like sports nutrition and renourishment, you look at like the actual big bodybuilding companies, and then companies just as Gatorade and whatnot. They have a very big, you know, core four being hockey, baseball, basketball, football, backing. But there's not a lot of, and then you have obviously bodybuilding, nutrition, lifting weights, Arnold Schwarzenegger's. But there wasn't a big push from action sports individuals into the space you're in. Are you kind of the first one in that space?
Good question. I think my goal. So initially, when starting the company, I actually thought like that was I would say that was my pitch was. My goal is to merge the worlds and get people that are in action sports to learn about sports nutrition, and for the sports nutrition world to have this new, basically this whole new niche area, action sports, to enter. So that was kind of my I'm like, hey, if you bring EVL in, you're going to start to help this new action sports community learn about sports nutrition. It's really good for you, you know, from protein, vitamins, fish oil. I mean, some people don't take this stuff. I mean, when I was a kid, I just rode my bike. I didn't know that. I didn't even realize that drinking caffeine would matter. You know, I had no idea. Think about the age when you realize, oh, I need caffeine.
I need nutrition.
Was that like 16 years old? Because before then, I don't think I even thought about that, you know?
No, I hear you. And it's not that thought about up until a certain age, and in certain sections or sectors, it's really not thought about. You know, people's lifestyles. What I mean to say when I really mean sector. But then there's things that happen that you have to think about nutrition, like tearing an ACL.
Yes.
For an example.
Yes.
So give me kind of the thought process there. You're running 100 miles per hour.
Yep.
You're winning all these do contests.
Yep.
You're doing first tricks. You're
Yes.
top of the top of the top.
And then tear
And
the
then
ACL.
boom.
Tear an ACL. I go home. I had a bunch of money saved up. I lived on even so with business. I guess I was like being a business person while in BMX, right? So in BMX, it's all about a business in the beginning stages. It's all about keeping overhead low. It's about not committing yourself. So I remember when I was, I want to be a free bird in BMX. So I was making, I would say, a good amount of money for a 20-year-old. I was $300,000 to $400,000 a year.
Phenomenal, yeah.
Yeah, and having no expenses. Now that's called rich. You know,
That's called wealth.
Yeah, that's wealth. Is no spending and just money coming in. That's not so because people can make a lot of money, but if you spend it. So I remember when I was moving around and people would say, "Oh yeah, so you're gonna get an apartment?" I'm like, I don't want a commitment. What do you mean? Can I just pay you over the top a good amount of money to stay on your couch? So I think I was like making like $350,000 a year, and I was just staying on people's couches.
It's a wild lifestyle,
for a couple $100 a month. It was cool.
How much of that were you traveling though? Is that
maybe 50% of the time I was somewhere.
So you didn't have like a true. You need like a true steady base. You were on the road. So
I didn't. And I always wanted to like. It's all about like motivation. So it was all about what place I wanted to be and what tricks I wanted to learn is where I wanted either if I want to be at Camp Woodward in Pennsylvania or North Carolina at Dave Mira's place. But basically, so in business, it was all about keeping the overhead low. So starting, we're off subject here, but help me out here. Where we at? We are.
So I wanted to just hear about, you're good. No worries, man. I want to hear about like how the ACL injury kind of put you in a mindset of,
got it. Yeah, sorry
I need nutrition. No, you're good, man. I'm glad. No. So how did that open your eyes to, I need nutrition, and how did that go to, well, there's a business.
So you got, sorry. Thank you.
You're good.
All right, so what I did was, from saving all that money, tore my ACL, but I knew at this point it's been a solid 3 years of riding, training, mentally. So it was almost like a forced break with the ACL. But I wanted to, I was like, oh my God, I need to go home. I need to ride with like my friends, not just the pro friends. So all the money I've been saving, I had a bunch of money in the bank, but man, when you buy a house and you build a giant skate park, man, it vanishes real quick. You know, down payment, ramps. But so I moved to South Florida, bought a nice house in Parkland, built a skate park in the backyard. While doing that, I am learning everything about how do I get my ACL knee back in shape. So I am learning about protein. I'm learning about an ingredient called beta-alanine. I'm learning about every single thing that will help me be better once I am back on my bike. While, getting a skate park, and like for business, so skate park, you could either call a company that does it, or you personally buy the wood yourself. You personally design it with someone else. You hire the best guys in the world, but you hire them directly. And so those, like technically, I was doing a lot of business with that, because then there's no middleman making a cut, And then
real quick, for those who do not know, definitely look it up. What would be the best YouTube video to find the? I'll probably drop it in the below. But you had a huge
12,000 square foot skate park. Probably
in your backyard.
Maybe I'll send you the link. It was probably the cool one is the one that NBC actually did on me. It was like a few minute a few minute day in the life with me, backyard, partying a lot. It was kind of cool. It was really cool.
And then
sorry.
No. Then you had to put together an entire skate park. You're learning the nutrition of ACL repair.
Yes.
And then that kind of put you from an adolescent 20-year-old who's sleeping on the couch and making a ton of money, like, all right, there's actually, I can get a little something behind this.
So I learned all about sports nutrition. Next competition I'm in, I win the contest. And in my mind, I'm thinking, that night where I'm celebrating for winning, and the only thing I could think about is, all right, what am I going to do next, because I could only BMX for so much longer. But I'm thinking about it an hour after I just won the biggest contest of my career.
Which is probably a lot different than your thought process 2-3 years prior.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Because I'm like, this isn't going to happen again. But I know all my sponsors are extended. And mentally I am like, man, I don't want to really keep doing this and going through this process.
Once that gets taken away from you one time, it's very real that it can happen again.
And then it did. It hurt my knee again. I was just mentally, I know I physically can do this thing, but the mental process it's deteriorating.
So before EVL Nutrition, and you were learning about all these different supplements, micros, macros, nutrients, how it works with your body, were you just taking the actual like beta-adenine and the different vitamins just like straight and make your own mix? Like,
no.
Were you using like different companies or?
Good point. I probably was doing straight ingredients because I was a little nervous of what to take or what not to take, and I learned all about it, and I fell in love with the sports nutrition. I call it at this point I called it a sports nutrition thing. Right. I'm like, what is this thing? You take protein after you.
You got like a lab going on in your kitchen a little bit.
Oh yeah, I remember because the process of like when I did the business was I remember going to one of the retail stores and I bought every single pre-workout they had, every single. And I remember the person going, "You're not going to take all these, are you?" I'm like, "No." She's like,
have a heart attack.
because she's like, I feel like I'm responsible because I bought like maybe like every single pre-workout they had. Because that's what you do. Very simple. You get all your competition, the number one in the world. You put them next to each other and you look at them and go, all right, how am I going to make the product look better than all these? How do I get my eyes to lock? Like that's just the simplest thing and so obvious to me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And then, so two things I want to talk about there is one, what is EVL's number one pre-workout right now?
So I guess, our number one product is BC Energy, right? BC Energy, and some people take it for pre-workout. And then Engine and Engine Shred are our two pre-workouts.
So I think every bodybuilder has taken a pre-workout at one time or another.
Oh, for sure.
Thought they were going to have a heart attack and collapse during the workout.
Yes.
I can attest to that.
That's happened to you?
Of course. And as an action bike rider or a skateboarder or a surfer, you got to be not only strong, but you got to be very precise and technical.
And focused.
You can't be jittery.
Yeah.
How does EVL compare to some of these others where you're like, it's almost like it's
thank you for asking, actually. So we do, so that was our number one product was Engine. And the goal of Engine, our pre-workout, was to make a pre-workout without the jitters. So of course, right? So but here, I'll give you the down on that is I learned all about taking all these ingredients and feeling them and understanding them. All the ingredients have a stimulant outside of caffeine. So there's always, in almost every pre-workout, and we'll try to not get too technical, but like people might actually think this is cool.
They will.
Sure. In a pre-workout, most of the time some have creatine, some have a bunch of focus ingredients, and then this is the thing, the kick. And it's actually not expensive for my side of the business, is the stimulants. Stimulants are the part of it, the ingredient. Caffeine's considered a stimulant, and then there's all these other stimulants in the product. So we purposely, the only stimulant we had in Engine was caffeine. So there was no after fact where you feel like crap. And so basically everyone is used to caffeine from coffee or some other source. So when you take Engine, people always said the same thing. Man, I felt good, I felt focused, but I didn't have that crash. Why and how? I told you, man, there's no other stimulants besides caffeine. So, but like, to me, again, I guess I have to say, to me, that's so obvious. And I think we might have been like the first company to just keep it simple and not put any crazy stuff in it. Isn't that funny? It's so obvious.
Absolutely. No, and then, so making a really good product is part of the first, in any business,
hero. So that was my hero product. And then while that product is, I would say, making EVL famous, right? Well, EVL's being famous, it's just like in BMX too. So you only have so much period of time that you have to assume that pre-workouts always, after a couple of years, they're not hot and sexy anymore. And people always like to switch it out. So I knew, I'm like, okay, Engine's here. We're doing really well on bodybuilding.com. I'm telling myself we have 1 year to get other products famous and doing well before we lose the power of Engine. So I'm always telling myself the worst case scenario where others would be like, oh, don't stress. I'm like, what do you mean? Get out of my way. You're in my way. That was bad. No, we only have 1 year. So after 1 year mark, and I think Engine was doing better, and then we have these other products that are doing well as well. I was like, I am shocked. We only have 6 months. Like, I'm trying to just freak everyone out just to get them to work harder. But it's a thing. It's because you don't know how long you'll have that hero for, and then other heroes come and go.
I think not only applicable to the nutrition world, but is in business and life as a whole, is when you have that level of success, a lot of people kind of get off the gas and rest, and the next thing you know, they've actually lost that, and now they have to recreate that momentum completely.
And sometimes it doesn't happen.
A lot of times it does not happen. You get that pop, and you can't find any. I'm
gonna use that and say someone told me there was a lot of sports nutrition owners in the business, and sometimes just some ingredients that you put in the bottle or ingredients that were gray area that we don't do. But back in the day, I was told that a lot of people were doing these pre-workouts, and they would put some ingredients in there that were in a gray area for the FDA, which I don't agree with. And it was called lightning in a bottle. And then all of a sudden, when someone hits lightning in a bottle, which means they hit the jackpot, the product's selling itself, everyone's talking about it, spreading word of mouth, they themselves think they're a genius. No, that's called luck. It is. But it is all like even with the business now, like I want to say, it's work ethic. It's it's devoting yourself, but there is timely luck. There's timing. I'm taking an opportunity.
I've always said that to be in the right place at the right time, you got to be willing to be in a lot of different places at many different times. You got to be exposed and kind of. You don't get lucky one time. You get lucky on the 9th time out of your 10th attempt. Or that doesn't make sense. But you get lucky.
Yes, I agree.
On your 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th attempt, you don't get lucky the first time around. But to not be lucky, but to be successful is kind of building on the momentum you have. And that sounds like you did, where you had this kind of like fire behind you with energy, and you had a 1 year where you knew that you had to kind of parlay something off of that, right? Like you had to go put another product
before that one
died, and kind of transfer the kind of
the power
to that next product to build a brand. What was like those first couple of years like, and like the innovation and kind of the growth? Because I remember when we first got together, you mentioned basically selling this stuff out of your house. So kind of take me to like the early stages.
Those were crazy days. I don't miss them because I remember, you're living. So I had a skate park in my backyard. I had four people and myself in the back office connected to my bathroom. So when I'd wake up, there's 4 guys already in the house. We had a few guys in the garage that was called the warehouse. I had pallets all over the house. My wife, Danica, got to meet me, I'm happy, right before we moved to our first office. So that was cool. She saw pallets in the house. Which was cool. She even said, she goes, I'm happy I saw that right before, but she missed the skate park. So we have a skate park in the backyard. I have a bunch of dudes always at the house. And then,
did you have a storefront in the house? You might as well just have a storefront. You got everything else going on.
No. So it's funny. Like I knew, because that's not the business. The business is trying. No, I know, but the business is trying to sell worldwide, nationwide, not sell one unit. We want to sell pallets. But
with the factory and the skate park, what were your neighbors' thoughts?
So I was very close with them, but remember they already dealt with me on the BMX in the skate park, and I still had the skate park in the backyard. So funny enough, being that I'm all about keeping the overhead low. So at this point, maybe I can just kind of throw it out there. The first, I think we sold $2.5 million before going to an office and a warehouse. So when people, other people that want to start companies, and they tell me, or they, maybe they're looking for money, and I'm like, oh, well, what are you thinking? They go, well, we need an office, we need this. I go, oh, you already lost me there, bro. You got to work out of your house, man. You gotta keep that overhead low, or you're just not, you're thinking about the wrong things,
Right. You're thinking about the comfort up front. You got to think about the grit and kind of the sacrifice up front, and then you get to that. $2.5 million out of your house.
Out of my house.
It's probably the most money someone's made out of their house legally in South Florida.
That's funny. So my neighbor got wind that I was going to build a giant garage in my backyard.
Right.
And it was going to be a giant garage, a few thousand square feet to hold product, and then I was going to make a loft setup. And again, I'm thinking how to avoid overhead. Okay, it's still overhead, but at least I own the item, because to me, rent just hurts my soul. Just $30,000 a month going to rent just kills me. It kills me. But, it's a business. It's and I tried, and my neighbor next door was, who I'm really friends with, I'm still friends with them today, and one of my employees mentioned it to the neighbor, and the neighbor called me and said, hey, Mike, I've been telling all the other neighbors that you were about to get a warehouse and no more semi-trucks were going to come. do not do what Chris told me you were going. And I'm like, oh, well, thank you for telling me, because I had the plans drawn up, and like it was gonna be a go, you know. Right. That's pretty funny, right?
Yeah. No, I mean, you know, telling everybody you're gonna get a warehouse, and little they know the warehouse is gonna be the best.
It really was gonna happen.
Oh my
and they
God,
know,
man.
everyone knew I would do it, you know, like
But if I'm not mistaken, you used to, before this, you were having tournaments at the house.
Yeah, so
they're used to traffic.
Yeah, but what I would do is I would invite all the neighbors.
Okay.
I'm trying to think if there's I invite all the neighbors. I would tell them I would hire off-duty police officers.
Okay.
So it's kind of like smart ways to be blocks,
right.
Or I had valet at the car, so no one was like parking in stupid places.
We'll donate the proceeds to the HOA.
No HOA where I live, or that house. But no, but it's all about telling the neighbors, hey, I'm going to do this event. Please come over, bring your kids.
Right.
So I always let the neighbors like come and watch. But they were actually cool with the skate park in the backyard and all the guys riding. When I moved in, I remember moving in like December 15th. I get this house in 20,
right,
or 21 maybe, and we threw the most gnarly parties ever. Police were coming over. I never been arrested ever in my life. I had to go to court, raise my right hand in front of a judge, and say I will not have any more house parties again in Parkland. And then the judge says to me, no, you have to repeat it. Big house parties. You know, we can't say all house parties. So I have
he was on your side. He's like,
yeah, it was cool. Yeah,
over.
I had my, and before this, he had and it was all worked out beforehand. I was friends with. I apologize and all that, but I had 3 pretty big parties, and they so the story part of it was the neighbors were more just, they didn't like that, but the skate park they thought was cool. One of the neighbors wasn't a fan until I won this contest. She saw me on TV, and all of a sudden the next day, I remember seeing her a week later after the contest, and she was like being really nice to me. And I go, oh, how you doing? She goes, I saw you on NBC. I'm like, oh, all right. Oh, cool, yeah. But like before that, I think she thought that I was a real rich kid, and my parents bought this house for me.
Yeah, wanted to be a skateboarder.
Yeah, even though maybe I think I told her this,
right.
But I guess people still don't want to believe that maybe a 20-year-old is doing something like that.
Maybe she just thought you were gonna introduce her to Jimmy Fallon, so she was trying to get
oh man, that was fun. Yeah, that was the Jimmy Fallon thing was cool.
That was in what,
2009.
2009?
Yeah.
And that's before EVL.
Yeah, but well before EVL.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then in EVL, so $2.5 million out of the house.
Yep.
What year was that in?
2014.
Okay.
December. I then leave and we get a warehouse.
Okay.
Yeah.
So fast forward real quick to
now, or
September 8th, 10th, or whatever today is, 2022.
Okay.
I forgot what the date is. Whatever today is, 2022.
Yes.
Where are you guys at from a revenue standpoint,
Yep.
and then also from a product offering compared to where you were in the house?
Yeah. A lot more products.
Okay.
Maybe about 100. We have maybe about 100 products right now. Think about maybe like 44 million revenue ish. It was definitely crazy with just the pandemic and everything going on with the pandemic.
Right. And
I was definitely really scared of what was going on for the world, for the business, for the employees. We're all working from home, but then it's a wild ride. You never know what's going to happen, and we had really loyal customers. And I'll be honest, I was very surprised how people continue to purchase during the pandemic,
right.
And being that, I would say, besides us and Walmart, and now we're a lot more retail. We're in a lot more retail stores today. A lot of grocery stores, Vitamin Shop, Walmart.
Okay.
But before that, we were mostly 90% on the internet.
Okay.
So our business probably did better during the pandemic.
Right.
And then it stayed, and it was definitely a shock, because I honestly, when the pandemic thing happened, I was freaking out. I thought the world was over.
Absolutely,
man. I really did.
I remember seeing the notice on my smartphone saying Disney closed, and I was like, oh, this is it. We're all done.
Yes, right?
Disney's closed for the day.
Oh, my God.
The world's over.
Yes.
Everybody's stopping.
Yes.
Manhattan has nobody walking around.
Yes. I really did believe that.
No. And I think a lot of business owners were in a very scared mindset.
Yes.
And
I was terrified. Yes.
Especially, so people who do not know, the nutrition business kind of plays in the middle from a manufacturing standpoint between food and pharmaceuticals, where you kind of have an overlap of both regulations.
Wait, I want to add to this, actually. So when the pandemic happened, my manufacturer, because we're in the industry of vitamins,
Right.
we actually had a special, my manufacturer sent me a special form. So if we got stopped by any cops,
Right.
I could actually show them this
Right.
form that I am a vitamin provider and I'm
Okay.
allowed to be in the streets. Isn't
Yeah,
that
yeah,
crazy?
it's incredible. It's
But we are in
awesome, yeah.
Florida, so no one's stopping us.
Nobody. we were free in a month and a half. But what I'm getting to there is, so you had there was essential workers. I got passes right away. So it sounds like vitamins. You guys had some type of essential work policy
Yes.
where you're able to keep production.
Yes.
Were there any additional restrictions, considering that you were like in that food manufacturing, vitamin manufacturing space regarding the pandemic, where you had to be like extra precautions during, or were you guys able to operate just as is?
Well, no,
from a
so we all
manufacturing
just
standpoint?
work from home. So so we are not a manufacturer, but we work with multiple manufacturers. So yeah, they but I know for a fact that they had a pass because they make protein. They make, so like all the manufacturers, they had a pass as far as like no, people need to eat, or people need vitamins or whatever. So but because we're in the industry, we were allowed to technically have the freedom to continue to work like normal, but we did from a precautionary. Everyone worked from home except a few of us, and but yeah, I'm a social person, and it killed me. It killed me.
I take it you're not a big Zoom thing.
I had to be because I needed to see
Yeah.
people.
Right.
I needed to see people,
Right.
but not everyone is.
Okay. No, I hear you. A lot of people. I'm about over to Zoom at this point. I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, I love this. We're in person.
Exactly.
We're
Talking to
humans.
people,
We
of
can touch
course.
each
Yeah,
other. It's great.
And then so going from 100 products today.
Yeah.
How involved are you when prior to EVL Nutrition?
Yes.
Mike repairing his ACL, trying to get back, learning about all this stuff, to having a business. How involved are you with the actual innovation of those products? Is that something that's delegated out to your team now? Like how? What's your involvement there?
So my partner Chuck, who is the CEO of EVL, he's really great at thinking ahead of the production or thinking of innovation, thinking of new flavors, new ingredients. So he loves that part of the business, and then I'm like this sounds weird. I really love logistics and just understanding how things work and how to run the most efficiently possible. That's my enjoyment. I love that stuff.
Right.
So when Chuck came on, he kind of took the role of new products, new innovation, and I got to almost focus more on, which is surprising. I'm like a nerd at heart.
So and, operational.
Oh, I love this stuff. I really love that stuff, and I love fixing stuff. So I kind of get obsessed with obviously there's finance part of the business, there's innovation part of the business, there's manufacturing, there's labels. So I'll get obsessed about something for normally 3 or 4 weeks, get my hands real in. I know normally that group of people at the company doesn't always enjoy that when I do my thing.
Step
I guess
in as a manager for the month a little bit.
Yeah, but it does come out. I would say 90% better, more efficient, make more money, or run more efficiently, and
And then, what are you, first, I guess, what are you in right now?
Logistics stuff with the warehouse right now.
So, and then...
Hope he doesn't listen to this.
No. Hopefully he does. Maybe not. Maybe.
I'm going to send him the link and listen to minute 44.
Yeah. Oh, man. You're good.
This is good.
When did Chuck get brought in, and then... how did you guys get into the retailers?
Yeah, 2018, Chuck officially joined, and and retail wise, so we got approached by Walmart in 2017, which I was like, whoa, they're reaching out to us. It was awesome. I was actually really nervous, and we put together a really good analysis. So for background for others, I still have a it's not my company, but I still ride for, technically this is funny, but it's been 12 years now, Hyper Bikes, which I have a spinner bike in Walmart. So it's still like a top selling bike in Walmart, so I kind of know how Walmart works. So I was terrified because Walmart is like a gorilla,
Absolutely.
And I was scared, and I remember we did a really good analysis, and it was a new buyer at the time at Walmart, so I guess the analysis we did was so detailed that he actually gave us 45-minute meeting, which is unheard of for Walmart.
What's the typical
15
meeting?
minutes.
So you have these massive products pitching to Walmart in a 15-minute time span, and they just got it.
Oh, yeah, and that's it. You walk out the door and you get an email, an Excel spreadsheet 3 to 4 months later that you open, and it says plus, deleted, or we'll keep. It is the most gnarly email you get once a year. It's kind of like you open this email, and there's nothing in it. It's like, please open Excel. And if if your product is deleted,
you're done. I guess it's your livelihood.
Isn't that crazy? Yeah, it's pretty wild, man. But they run it. Obviously, they run it. But it's the way they operate is best for consumers. Low price every day. I mean, they are the gorilla, and that's why, right? So got approached by them.
45 minutes is probably a good sign. You probably feeling pretty good.
No, I was freaked out because I remember calling my friend who owns Hyper Bikes, who I still get a royalty from with my bike, and I said, hey, is there any tips? He goes, how long? What was your meeting? I go, 45. He goes, what did you do to get that? Like, he was in complete shock, which was pretty cool.
So who's in this meeting at Walmart? Is it like the chief buying officer?
It was the buyer for sports nutrition at the time, and then Frank and our social media guy at the time. Then so we could show like, hey, so be me, Frank, and then what we'll do for you to add value for social media, because it's all about. I mean, something that I guess I learned when I was younger, because I had an agent, a BMX agent, and he always said to me, and I didn't put it together until later on in years. It's all about like adding value, and I hate when people say that, because like, what does that mean? Yeah. It means I'm coming to this meeting, I'm trying to sell you this product, but I will also do this on social media and tell people our products will be at Walmart, and I'll do this and I'll do that, and that's adding value. I mean, I hate when people say it, but that's what it is, right?
So 45 minutes, you guys walk out of that business meeting in 2017. So you're pretty still early on. Bodybuilding was your first big retailer, correct?
Yeah.
Then 2014, you guys won Brand of the Year.
Yeah.
Through the, I did a little homework.
Yeah. On brand, like breakout brand of the year.
Breakout brand of the year. New coming, new kid on the block.
Yeah, which is cool.
And in 2017, you're in Walmart.
In Walmart, and then,
Okay. Yeah. And then from there, is it just an increased market share in a Walmart, like more shelf space? Like, how do you continue to kind of build that?
Yeah, good question.
Exposure?
It's not easy, because there is no path of you don't really. It's not really a constant. Good question.
No, I hear you.
Walmart's a difficult one, because you want to offer them the best price, but at the same time you don't want other retailers to maybe be upset as well. So it's all of a balance. Everyone plays like a different game.
And they're so big; they have so much leverage.
They have a lot of leverage, because the amount of units you can move with them is pretty ridiculous.
Now, do you get into a region with them, like, hey,
it's
your test region, or hey, you're launching out?
Yeah, launching. Yeah, but like I think we're
massive.
Yeah, so like for example, I think we're in we just got into CVS a couple months ago, which is cool. We're in all like I think like 8,000 stores. And then Walgreens, we're getting I think a test for, and it's a small amount of stores, like 20 stores or something. So it's like it's kind of crazy how things work like that, So everyone has like a different strategy, or different like companies. Each company has a different strategy. I think Walmart's more like, let's just go, let's see what happens.
The fire, and hopefully survive.
Yeah.
Sounds like you guys are still in there 5 years later, so obviously.
Yeah, and we just got 3 more products added to the mix, and I think they actually launched 2 days. In 2 days.
Go to Walmart, check it all out.
EBL test, night lean mode, and BC Energy. Blue Raz Fruit Punch. Shout out Walmart.
Sam Walton and all his associates are running it for you. Obviously, that's a joke.
I rode bikes with Travis Pastrana at Walmart in 2010 with one of the Waltons. You would have not known he was so rich, because he was so nice, and he was just so pumped to ride bikes with us, which was funny.
Travis, me and Travis were trying a decent relationship.
Like I'll text him randomly and stuff. It's pretty cool.
That's
he's
awesome.
a really nice guy. Really nice. He might actually be, just to add that, he might be in a ratio of famous he might be the nicest,
Famous
most famous person I know of.
Okay.
Not know personally. I think I know worldwide from just understanding how it works.
Yeah.
He might be the nicest person in the world for how famous he is.
That's really cool.
It's pretty cool, right?
I know he was down here about a month ago doing.
He got hurt, right?
He was doing a movie shoot right off of
cool.
downtown Fort Lauderdale. They had the drawbridge halfway open, and it was like for one of the shows. It ramped
Nitro?
over. Nitro circus ramped over the drawbridge halfway open.
What?
Oh
my God! Of course you do. Oh, I'm friends with a lot of the Nitro Circus guys.
Okay.
And Ryan Williams and Todd Main were at my house a month ago, which are like the two big dogs on Nitro on the tour.
Okay.
Yeah, they came over for like a few days of having a good time while in the middle of their tour.
Yeah.
They flew down and we all had a good time for a couple days, which was cool. So for me, it's cool to like know about BMX and stick my nose in and ask all the drama because I'm not in it, so it's kind of cool. And they're asking me more questions about the business. I'm like, no, I want to know more about what's give me the drama. It's kind of fun, while not being in it.
Not having to compete and tear the
ACLs. So I get to
healthy.
I get to be a fan.
You get to be like the kind of grandfather of sport a little bit, take a back seat to it.
What's cool is a lot of the guys like they respect me, and it's a younger group of guys now. So it's not the ones that I pissed off that I technically took their jobs.
They're the ones who had you up in their bedroom.
Yes. So now when they meet me, they're pumped.
You get to sit on that mentor role. So last kind of question, we'll wrap here. I think a lot of really good content here is, do you see, because you mentioned it, being still involved in the BMX space, but being more as a business person and a mentor to those young guys. Do you see a bridge really between the sport and EVL, like with some massive sponsorship, or is that just...
So good question, actually. So as I would love to support action sports, BMX more, it really doesn't translate. So all my friends in BMX, or even non-BMX friends but are professionals, any of the professionals that ask us and reach out, we give product. A lot of them are actually sponsored by the big energy drink companies. And funny enough, they a few of them, I'm thinking about two right now that are actually like probably the most famous BMXers. They've posted about EVL, and I texted him and said, do not do that. Do not jeopardize your big deal with one of the energy drinks. No, man, I got to support you. I'm like, no, man, I'm your friend. Do not lose your mortgage payment. It's cool.
Did you have some pushback initially with Monster because they were one of your sponsors? Yeah, so you went on and did your own thing.
Good question. When I did the amateur tour in BMX, it was actually very successful. 10 stops around the country with Monster, final, all the amateurs, because I recreated what I got into the sport. So I wanted to give back and also give value to my sponsors while I was still getting paid as a sponsored rider, but I wasn't really riding at 2012. So I did this
celebrity appearance, more or less.
Thank you. He said it, not me. So basically, with that Monster question, we did such a good tour that I knew I was starting EVL in the future, and they said, "Hey, Mike, if we'd love to still do the tour with you, even if you're not, gonna, not as a rider, but we'll transition you into like a different role." And I was like, "Oh, no, thanks, I'm good. I'm gonna focus on my thing." And they're like, "No, it's cool. Like, we should do it again." I'm like, No, thank you. But thank you anyway. Because I ended it on a good note, positive, because I wasn't going to give it my all, so that wouldn't be fair. So, but it was Monster. I think I learned a lot from just marketing and just how they operate and what makes them tick. It's really cool.
Absolutely. Having that kind of partnerships early on, I'm sure was pivotal in
your I can't
even through today.
I would say that if I had to give a shout out to someone, it'd probably be my agent, Brad Lusky, who was my mentor, and I didn't even maybe realize it, but I literally, he was my agent. He told me, I would literally ask him questions like, what shirt should I wear today at this contest? He goes, well, Mike, it's up to you, but this shirt would be the best idea. I go, yes, sir. Yes, boss. And he said to me, he goes, you are the easiest athlete I've ever worked with. I'll show you that. I'm going to send this to him, but other athletes might not be happy. But it's cool. But I literally would do whatever he said. And he, and why not?
I think there's some value to be taken away there. You're going to be a good mentee, listen to your mentors. That's a big, a lot of people get a lot of value out of advising when that advice is taken.
And just so I'm enjoying when people are asking me advice. I'm loving it. I really enjoy if anyone ever wants, any of my BMX friends wants to just pick my brain on stuff. But the problem is, if they pick my brain on something and then they do not do it, I am actually upset. So that's the only problem is you lose me if you ask me for advice and don't take it.
Yeah.
So because I know it, well, at least for my thought, my advice is the best advice ever.
No, I think it's true. If you're going to ask me my advice and not take it, I'm offended. Why do you come to me the first place, right?
Yeah, you just want to talk about it, you know?
You want me to agree with you, and you're hoping I say what you're thinking, and I don't.
No, it sounds like that's an ex-girlfriend thing where you're like, no, she cheated on me, but it's cool, right, man? No, you're gonna say no. I'm gonna ask my other friend that until someone says yes.
Someone to tell me
It's pretty. Yeah, it's just like business. Yeah,
exactly,
same thing.
Exactly, man. So last thing we'll wrap up, man. First of all, really good content.
Yeah, this was really fun, dude. This was really fun. Yeah,
I've enjoyed it a lot. EVL Nutrition, household name in a lot of ways, and very, very, very much in that big market share of the supplement nutrition.
Trying to keep growing.
Trying to parlay your current success into the next thing, similar to when you first got started. Give me a rundown of what 2023, 2024 looks like. What's your vision? Where you see and everything?
We're trying to keep growing. Okay. We're trying to expand. We're doing really well right now. International, I think for international, we could probably triple or quadruple international. And I don't want to give too much detail on that, but if our business right now international is maybe like 15 or 20%, you know, that it could probably double or triple, which would be really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's very possible, but it takes time. And I'm learning with like international business, international brands take just a really long time. But once you're there, you'll see brands that maybe aren't as hot in the U.S. but are still doing well internationally. So it just takes like a decade sometimes. Does that make sense? So we're almost at a decade now, and it's pretty cool. Yeah.
It's a whole new market, and it's also you have a different stigma over in different countries as well. Where here is very vegan focused, and everybody knows all nutrition, and some countries are not quite yet on that high nutrition.
Every single country,
a different culture completely.
Yeah, every single country has like a different mindset or different, you know. I don't know why, but for some reason I really want Australia. Like I really want us to do really well in Australia. Everyone has neck tattoos in Australia, which is kind of cool. Or it's just my friends in BMX that are Australian have neck tattoos.
Okay. We'll get into that market, man. Honestly, really good to have an athlete on the show and hear your background, man, hear your competitive edge, the history of EVL and where y'all are headed. I appreciate it, man.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.